Welcome back, everybody. Third and final match here in week 3 at our fingertips. Oklahoma Christian undefeated. Texas State undefeated. Lots of expectations as far as this match providing what will hopefully be a playoff look between both of these two squads. My whole shift with me, I've got my Brit and I was going to say like some sort of playoff of like partner in crime, like my Brit and cahoots. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything, so now I'm awkwardly trying to explain it. But here we go. Number 2, number 8. Brody, give me your thoughts.
I'm looking forward to this one, bud. We get a look at our schedule ahead of time, obviously, so we can kind of prep for the matches and such. And I looked at this one, I was like, yeah, these guys, they were 4-0 before, of course, those are the first matches of the day. And looking at any flawless teams, right, you're in a situation where, like, these guys are flawless for a reason, right? You know, they've got to be some of the best teams within the Western region. I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can bring to the table. Now, I will say, I got to see Oklahoma Christian already once, and they look pretty good versus the Hilltoppers. So, look, I don't know, man. This is going to be a great match. That's all I can say. If you're 5-0 coming into these matchups, you got to be doing something.
That would be the anticipation. A handful of key wins for both sides. For Texas State, I think we could probably start there. Map 5 win versus New Mexico State, who's looking really good this year, by the way. 3-0 versus CSUN, which is also looking like a pretty solid team. And then the rest of it is pretty casual 3-0s against the rest of kind of the lower side of the Western region. Where on the opposite side, like you mentioned, Oklahoma Christian have that 3-0, and 3-0 wins everywhere, by the way. They haven't lost the map yet. But the most impressive one was the one versus St. Edwards early on in the season. They also have played New Mexico State and CSUN. So they've got a handful of similar opponents that have been played with similar results, kind of save that matchup versus New Mexico State, who I think they will be a contender in this Western region. Maybe not for a top spot, but they will be a threat, I think, in the middle of the pack. But the big thing is that 3-0 from Oklahoma Christian against St. Edwards was scary. I think is probably the only way that we could go about saying it. I mean, 250, 121, around 11 search, and then a 3-0 control. It definitely will make you shake in your shoes a little bit if the roster didn't already, with players like Cruz and Gus. Not Goose, Brody. We need to make sure we get that out of the way early.
Come on, bud. You didn't have to mention it.
You knew I
knew you were going to do it. I don't know why I expected anything else. Yeah, look. We'll get out of the way. All right? I messed up. Okay, guys. I don't know why. I thought it was Crucify.
Me neither, dude, because we've literally cast them like 3 matches of Challengers.
The thing is, I swear, it must have been Andy. Andy must have been pulling a prank on me. That's what I'm saying. Andy must have been like calling him Crucify in like a match or something in like Elite Season 1. And that's where I picked it up. I'm going to blame Andy. It probably isn't Andy's fault. And as a matter of fact, I probably know it's definitely not Andy's fault. But I'm going to blame him anyway. Yes, Gusify and Cruz. Yeah, we've casted these guys in Challenges. Cruz, unfortunately, wasn't able to make it into Season 2 of Challenges Elite. Of course, Gus absolutely wasn't smog out for roster. But you know, that's not to discount Cruz at all, because he has been highly impressive this season thus far in Challenges. Gus as well. Like, these guys have put so much stock into themselves this season, just off their gunplay in Challenges. And that has translated in towards this Oklahoma Christian roster here in the CCL. And also important to note as well, I mean, we'll give Cruz and Gus their flowers for being just as good as they are. But also, Ray and Frosty complement those guys really well. Like, again, I got to see that match between Oklahoma Christian and the Hilltoppers. And Ray and Frosty were keeping up. They were adding on the same kind of performances that Cruz and Gus were to this team.
Yeah, no, Frosty is a big shout here, because I got to give him some credit, because he's popped up in the top 32 a handful of times. I've been tracking him on a little Challengers mega sheet. The top 24 finish at Major 2, playing alongside Pacer, Bandy, and Prospect was awesome to see. And then getting into Stage 2 for the qualifiers, unfortunately, they didn't quite do that much work to try to make it into Elite Stage 2. But Frosty is kind of that guy that kind of now sneaks into the CCL conversation as, does he use this as an opportunity this year to grow some confidence, play alongside some great players for your college, and then turn around, play in Challengers Cups, have a chance to play in Challengers qualifiers, most likely always, and then still show up to major events and be competitive. Definitely, I think, a strong shout as far as why this team is as good as they are. Not only do they have 2 top performers in Challengers right now, but like we talked about, Frosty's becoming an up-and-coming option when it comes to Challengers teams in the future for North America. On the other side of things, though, to step away from the combat conversation into the next, Texas State is returning with a lot of the same team that they had previously. Tactic, Draco, Scripps, all back, but Splody, we saw him in the top 5 plays. This kid is electric, and he can play with some serious tempo.
Yeah, again, this is one of those rosters that's kind of new to me as a team. Obviously, they did very well in Stage 1 last year. Stage 2 wasn't so kind to them. But nonetheless, I mean, you're looking for players like Draco and Scripps to really step up slowly as well. I mean, he was in the top 5 players earlier on, right? So we know that he's definitely capable of some big things. But they've got big shoes to fill, you have to imagine, here going up against the Titanic team that is Oklahoma Christian. And it comes back to these conversation points again. It only takes a couple of players on the roster really to step things up and kind of go toe-to-toe with the opposition, these Titanic teams, to really put yourselves in the conversation. So, again, we're looking at those players again to see whether or not they can come up with some crazy plays here, you know, go head-to-head with this Oklahoma Christian roster. We'll see what they can bring to the table.
Well, not much to pick apart from here.
I was going to say.
I already talked about for Texas State what their loss looked like. Actually, no, maybe we didn't talk about what their loss looked like. Did we?
It was a game 5 versus the State Aggies.
Yeah,
so
we've not talked about that yet. Okay, I was looking through all of the recent results and I wanted to make sure we got to it. So, where is that matchup? I got to find it real quick. This is going to take me a second because I am slow. Okay. There it is. It was It was the first match that they played. Texas State up against New Mexico State. They lost map 4 251-72 and the control 3-2. So everything else was not fully one-sided. It was a round 10 map 5. But the large majority of that series was pretty convincing for Texas State. The thing about it is, this is a totally different caliber of opponent, and we've already learned that. If you're not inside of, like, the top 8 teams right now, save Ottawa in this current situation, which, again, they should be top 8. But if you're not, like, in that top 8, like, there is a pretty significant fall-off, it feels like, to, you know, the top 4 teams versus, like, the next, like, 9 through 12, so to speak. So this is a totally different ball game for Texas State. It's going to be a really good litmus test to see if they're going to be up for possibly a major run this year to kind of make up where they lost out last year at just missing out of playoffs.
That might be an understatement, to be honest, bud. I mean, these are the number 2 seeds overall, Oklahoma Christian. Again, we know what they are capable of. This is absolutely a whole ball game for this Texas State roster. And here is the map set in which these guys will be facing down, buddy. I am so excited. I get so happy. I'm sure you've seen this. Do you know why? It's Hydro, mate. It's a Hydro hardpoint, mate. I love it. Every time I get it in ranked play, it makes me giddy. And we're going to see it here in this best of 5. El Asilo for maps 2 and 3 as well in Search and Destroy and Control, respectively. And then if we need them, Embassy, Hardpoint, and Mikado, Search and Destroy. I mean, the question for me is, Oklahoma Christian, currently undefeated, not just in series, but in terms of maps. Where are you going to try and take one if you're Texas State? And then not only that, but build a way into this series, right?
Look, this is a bold call for Texas State to keep Hydro in the pool. Like, it's one of those maps that can get out of hand real quick, and it can be really hard to get back into the map. So this shows a ton of confidence that Texas State will do well at manipulating spawns. They'll shut down rogue routes, if not win those 2 conditions against a very, very good Oklahoma Christian team. This is a very bold call to keep it in the pool for Texas State. Let's see what they have to offer. Number 2, number 8, Infinity. Let's get it on.
I love when you said that, but it's going to be so hype. Okay, Christian, let's see what they have to offer here as they're going to have to flip the map. That's ultimately the big thing, going to be at the back of their minds, really, as we go in towards this set, because Texas State Esports, they start things off on the better side of the map here, so they'll be trying to keep control of those P2 spawns. At the moment, though, bullied out of P1. Oklahoma Christian is more than happy to take this back 20 seconds of time. And this is what you have to be wary of here in Hydro. There's a number of water routes. It's like a water park, really, where you can effectively go and flank for the new spawns for the next rotation. Gunfights inside old, though, will be going Texas State's way. And the question is, are they aware of the fact that someone is flanking? It looks like they will be, as maybe not. Actually, they're going to run away from Frosty. That's tough.
I mean, this is just dirty. Frosty goes prone in the smallest of bushes. And now he's behind the play with Eddie. Oh, goodness. No one sees it. Tactic, turn around. Oh, wait, he's going to get a little bit of help here. Or so you thought. Splody just kind of bounces past him, and Frosty gets pulled. Oh, it's a cheeky play, and Texas State will not love watching the stream back and seeing that. It's hard to clear every single corner, every single tall piece of grass, and that's where Frosty pounces. And now the break is in, and Texas State are scrambling.
Yeah, it's tough. I thought for a second there when Frosty flips the first kill, I'm like, oh, it's okay. Texas State can recover from this. Then he doesn't get the first kill, and then he gets a double. Then Oklahoma Christian finally do break through for the back 15 seconds. And once again, Texas State Esports That's reeling here in this situation, as they're now going to have to be over towards the next rotation. This is a bit of a dodgy one. Very easy to lose control of those back spawns. Texas State will have to be aware of that here as they get control of P3. Need somebody actually in soaking up the time, but they're going to be preoccupied with some of these gunfights. Draco well aware of the fact, touching around for kills towards his top side. And it's going to be able to find one, but there it is towards the back line here. Oklahoma Christian will now be spawning in for this hard point. Texas State is the read good. You can see them most certainly searching for it. Tactic had an idea as to what was going on, but Draco will fall off the back of that as well. That's 2 down now for Texas State, and these guys, they're now being super pressured inside. They got to win some fights.
Yeah, Splody does get the opening double. Actually finds a third. That's great news because the respawners are now back in for Texas State. They've done pretty well handling this situation. Cruz with an opening double, though, on the scrap time. Break gets 3. And that will clear the point away. But again, for the Bobcats, that's not terrible. And mostly because you didn't have a chance to challenge the exits from 2. Just simply because the convincing kill feed led to Oklahoma Christian taking away so much of the middle of the map. So you had to play inside the hard point. And to still get 30-plus seconds, you consider that to be a win. And now you've got a 50-50 foot race as Ruin's path will open up. Splody's in the back, but Frosty says, I know how that position works. I just did it. Reads it, gets the kill. But Oklahoma Christian still, with those eliminations, do not actually hold the spawns as of yet. More kills need to come through, and Splody shuts it down. Well played by the Bobcats.
Yeah, that was a big play actually coming out from Splody there. A bigger 2-piece than he might actually realize, considering how much pressure was actually building over towards Ruin's side coming through from Oklahoma Christian. So as the back line has finally been cleared now, the front line becomes a problem. And look at this. It's perfectly played. Splody is baited inside to Ruins, and Frosty now will double up for a couple of kills. So looking pretty good here as Frosty gets another 3 in a row. Goodness me, that's disgusting.
And Bernie's,
oh, God.
Once again, look how Oklahoma Christian play this scrap time. Like, moving across the map this fast, it doesn't give Texas State a chance to even play for exits. They have to play inside the hill, and you even see Tactic kind of doing 360s, making sure no one's coming from behind him. They don't have a good read or on the lay of the land just because Oklahoma Christian were so convincing in that scrap time. It's these little things that, you know, will start to really kind of, I think, open your eyes a little bit as an audience member watching the CDL of why this map can be so difficult to play. If you don't have the chance to challenge those last 20 seconds in the middle of the map, it turns into these bunker setups that become difficult to read where the next hit's coming from. This time through, the Bobcats have done a really nice job in the opening 20, getting a solid read on where Oklahoma Christian were coming from, and they've dealt with it pretty nicely.
Yeah, now the pressure's starting to build, though, again. These spawns can be kind of erratic here, especially on this hard point on Hydro. And indeed they will be, as Oklahoma Christian get a couple of wild spawns, one towards the back line, one towards P3. Now Texas State Esports find themselves removed back 20. Tactic looking to find his way in against Gus. Gets the 1v1, but Cruz again. These back spawns for Oklahoma Christian should be good enough to get this scrap time. Tactic just trying to play in-out around this hard point, dipping a toe in and out of that hill, but finally will be taken down if the back 20 does go Oklahoma Christian's way. And they're okay with that, honestly, in the situation that they're in. Like, yeah, they've still got a solid lead versus Texas State at the moment, and we know they're capable of flipping them out. We've already seen them do it once.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's different, just to kind of go back to my previous point, is you had someone who was finessing the scrap time, so Oklahoma Christian don't get a formidable setup or even a chance to get over to this new hard point quickly. Texas State are the ones that possess a lot of these key positions, but they read that their teammate of Script spawned behind them. They thought that that meant that there's no way anyone else is here. Little did they know that Gus was waiting and lurking, and he completely blows the setup wide open, leading to an Oklahoma Christian break. That's a moment that Texas State is going to be kicking themselves on because they thought they had everything locked in, but they just didn't count the numbers, didn't account for Gus in the back line.
Gus goes down. At this point, again, this is not a good look for Texas State Esports to be in. You look kind of the overall context of the game. We know how important and how easy it is to hold the full 60 off the back of P2. Like, there is a moment here in this game. You're already down by about 50 points or so where you could well lose full control. They do not break early on. Bloody trying to traverse the middle of the map. The coverage is really good from Cruz. He is just so staunch. And look, it's a double positioning for me. Look at Gus as well. Like, they're not losing those back spawns. And Oklahoma Christian, they know it.
No, this is what the last time that we saw something kind of like this, the first map that comes to mind, and shoot me for saying this, is Ramaza from Modern Warfare 19. When you have to cross that middle divider, you can kind of play checkpoint spawns And if you block the top, you block the back, you block ruins, you're putting your opponent in the worst possible position. Again, another high-level play coming out of Oklahoma Christian, but they can't hold it forever. And how about the break from Texas State? They get a little bit of favor spawning behind because of those forward members. And now this turns into not just scrap time. They have an exit and a chance to threaten early. So shoes on the opposite foot here, and Texas State a chance to try to threaten scrap to initial on this rotation.
The stun connect exploding through the door will take down Gus in the end. That stun does actually resolve just before the gunfight takes place. So Splodey's lucky to get away with that one. I'm looking for
Nice
Splodey. Triple, gonna have to go into the water. Yeah, it's kind of tough there. You need your armbands on. Splodey just doesn't have it equipped for that particular holiday, and the vacation is going to be cut short. So Oklahoma Christian now in control. Once again, that situation that I was talking about is once again arising with Oklahoma Christian an opportunity here to put some serious distance between themselves and Texas State. Draco jumps up, looking for more here as he has his teammate flying across. Draco providing a lot of cover fire at the moment, and actually they do a good job at removing them, but they just don't have the numbers to fully unearth Oklahoma Christian in this situation. The spawns do flip momentarily, but again, these guys, they're not amateurs, however much they might be in challenges. They're not misreading that play.
No, it's just a couple of key gunfights that don't go your way. Texas State end up on the back foot behind that play because of it. It's tough, man. This map is difficult because the smallest things can lead to the most outrageous effects. And we're going to see likely Oklahoma Christian probably put away the map right here. Unfortunately, Cruz is still playing for exits. I mean, it's like this is what we look for in high-level gameplay. You know, we start to see this a lot in the CDL. Just someone just goes rogue. I'm just going to sit here, play off the exits, let everyone stay comfortable in the new hard point. You know you have to keep looking behind you, though, on these setups. And as long as that awareness is there, the reads, the setups can still stay strong. It takes a lot of trust, but that's what you get, not just from Cruz, who's 26-12, but Gus goes 21-14 with a minute 40 in the hill, and Frosty's on 5 in a row, also kind of taking the mantle of hitting routes. Man, there is so much to talk about and why that map is closer than it is in number of moments, but it's the fact that Oklahoma Christian win those key moments every single time that ends up leading to a blowout. Texas State did not play that map poorly by any stretch of the imagination, even though the score may say otherwise. It just came down to the key moments on those rotational 20 seconds at the end to the 20 seconds at the new, kept favoring the setups of Oklahoma Christian, and that's just because they were playing way more proactively. And that just comes with a lot of experience and veterancy that you expect from players of that caliber. It's a bold call leaving that map in Texas State. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, like, is there any favorable map? Like, Oklahoma Christian haven't dropped anything so far, so like, you don't know what their weaknesses are ultimately, right? So like, you just kind of take it where you can get it and take it where you feel comfortable. Maybe they just felt comfortable in Hydra ultimately, but yeah, you kind of said it right. I mean, it's just the key moments, and I think there are a couple, just generally speaking, when it comes to Hydra hardpoint. Like, you know that the P1 and P2 rotation is probably the most crucial rotation here on this map, and Oklahoma Christian win it both times, like, properly. Yes, they lose the back 30 on the second set, but like, that is not enough for Texas State to feel actually comfortable here in this game. And it is just, when it gets down to it, the back 20 seconds go Oklahoma Christian's way. They know when to take time. And we talk about players just going absolutely huge. Like, the AR pressure from Cruz, what Gus is bringing to the table as well, like, it is insane. Those guys are just consistently slaying out. It's not surprising.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear. Not a surprise, but it just provides so much map control that it feels like Texas State, I mean, they've barely got their head above the water. Literally and figuratively.
Correct. And the other thing, and this is, you can't actually say this with 100% certainty, but like, it's not that Cruz is that much better than the other four on the other side. He very well is probably better, it's flat out. But the thing is, he's putting himself in incredible positions to where the gunfights are that much easier. And, there was this moment where Beagle had just been dropped from Florida, was playing in Challengers, and Visions and I were casting, and I was like, the maturity that Beagle has as a player compared to last year when we casted him over Vanguard is so much better. And it's because he's putting himself in great spots, and he's reading the information to give himself the best look at a gunfight before it happens. And that's the difference maker of the 26-12 on one side and like the 18-17 from Splody on the other. Like, Cruz is putting himself in great spots, and it's not just because of his awareness, it's the trust that his teammates are going to make the right rotations, and all of those things are very high level comparatively what we normally see in college COD, and that's why they're the number
Yeah.
2 team right now in the nation.
I would best put it as it's proactive versus reactive. I think that's the best way to describe that kind of play. It's just like Splody, a lot of what Splody's doing, like, because Splody is a really impressive player. Like, I think it's kind of understated because of like I don't want to say the underperformance of Texas State there in map number 1, because I don't think it is an underperformance. Like, they're going up against one of the best teams in CCL here, but like it's kind of understated because like he's just not in the position really to do much better. But like still, what we're seeing from Splody is when he is going off, he's finding himself in situations where it has to be clutch moments. We're seeing him getting clutch 2 pieces, clutch 3 pieces in and around these points. Whereas again, you kind of talk about that, kind of compare that to the AR on the other side with Cruz, and it's just like Cruz is actually setting themselves up in positions to get kills well ahead of time. It's not like an insult on Splody at all, because I'm highly impressed with what I saw from Splody in map number 1, but it is just a testament to, I think, what Cruz brings to the table. Impressive.
I could really nerd out about this map, because I think the biggest thing, and here's a little free tip for you if you're Texas State, on the macro level, look at your back 20 and your first 20 and see how many times you're in a position to where you're not able to contest or finesse because you're taking challenges too soon, and that's leading to Oklahoma Christian taking away more of the map because of it, or you're voluntarily putting yourself in a position to where you have to bunker up, and again, you don't have the ability to set a forward line of scrimmage. Those are the 2 big moments, I think, in particular, that were the difference makers in that map. So, little free tip for Texas State. Check your 40 seconds in between each hard point. I think you'll see a lot of very appealing things that maybe could lead towards some corrections. But we have to stop talking about the hard point. I literally, if I had a telestrator, I could spend an hour and a half talking about that map. LSCLO Search and Destroy next, though. LSCLO Control guaranteed is the third. The Search, I will say for Texas State, based on the performance we watched them last week against Texas, they do look really well put together. They've got a lot of cool plays. They default nicely. They throw a lot of variety into their default setups. I'm excited to see what they have to offer against this Eagle squad.
Yeah, for sure, right? And this is the interesting thing, again, as I learn kind of more about what the CCL teams, outside of the ones that I kind of initially had a chance to look at, bring to the table. It is those questions about kind of what these guys can be able to do here in terms of search and destroy. The one thing I will say is, again, I've already said it quite a bit already, but like a player that has impressed me a lot here is Splody. A map like LSCLO should play pretty well in his favor, to be fair, because you're expecting players to kind of rush you, and Splody, being the AR that he is likely going to get some, I don't want to say free kills. I don't think free kills is the right term, but at least he's going to be in favorable positions to deal with that. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table here, but more than anything, I am excited to see Texas State in their search and destroy. What can they do against this Oklahoma Christian roster? Because if I remember correctly, and again, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I think the search and destroy was the closest map in the series between Oklahoma Christian and Hilltops in week number 1. I think it was like, went pretty far. I think it went to like around 11 or something.
Let me.
So I'm not going to make you check that, bud.
I'm already on the way, dude. I have to know. Yeah, round 11. You weren't kidding.
Oh, so. Hey, I really thought my memory's failing me in my old age, but it's not.
Your old age, spare me. Jesus, what do I have, 10 years on you?
Yeah, something like that, bud.
Holy action. You want to talk about 2 teams that just want to get it on? How about that opening 15 seconds? We're left with a 1v2. Sniper rifle was in play for Draco. Keep that in mind, as Oklahoma Christian were looking to just run it down Texas State's throat. A decent response, all things told. Again, 1v2 is not going to be fun with that much time to play with. No dead silence, but trades were not terrible. Problem is, this is a tough angle to see. Good prediction. Shots just aren't quite centered, but a decent read. Oklahoma Christian take the opener.
Yeah, so often these search and destroy rounds in LSCLO. This is the thing we didn't say, by the way. It's just so often LSCLO rounds can be super quick and snappy. That was just one of them. The Eagles coming out on top of the trades to kick things off. And that is a good read from Tactics, to be fair, in that 1 versus 2. Yeah, just like to recognize the exact corner and almost hit the shots as well. Pretty well played from Tactic. He does actually pick up 1 kill in that round, but again, those initial trades just do not go their way. So, Oklahoma Christian get the best look here in round number 1. Frosty having a big part of that at 3-0. Feels like much of the same might occur here in round number 2 as these guys are about to butt heads.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. Frosty is just trying to close the door behind him. I don't think they expect that Oklahoma Christian are going to be that pressured out. Draco down low with the scope. Questionable. And that's just a difference in utility, right? I mean, Frosty's not a part of the play, and they still get 3 kills quick. But Texas State are trying to come out with some fire here. I respect it. I really do. But at a certain point, you can't just keep trying the same old thing here if you're not winning the gunfights. And Like, look, I'm really leaning into this game. So, like, if you're trying to nerd out on some good COD and you want to see some analysis, like, I'm going to try to provide it. But this is just all about who wants to assume control from the get-go. Both teams are vying for it, but Oklahoma Christian through 2, Texas State may have to be the team to back off first and put together some sort of a calculative setup to try to counter this Oklahoma Christian aggression.
Right, well, things have definitely slowed up now, at least from Oklahoma Christian's side.
Well,
maybe not for Frosty, actually. Oh, Cruz, never mind. Oh, they stopped for a second. They slowed up. Now no longer the case.
Dude,
flying.
what?
Oh, my God. What is that?
Remember that time I said that the players on the other side of the server may not be that much behind Cruz skill-wise? I immediately take that back. That is a stupid gunfight to hit every single shot and win.
Jesus.
Okay, so
I mean, he dies. There's that, but
well,
still.
but the damage is already done, right? Like
Yeah.
that whole setup for Oklahoma Christian is you have ARs on the outsides, watching both extremity lanes. Frosty goes window to window, top A. Cruz hits B alley with just the ARs watching over the top and utility to contest the space early. So that's how they're getting these opening engagements, at least in that last round. And Texas State, at a certain point, I think the best counter for you against that, and maybe here as well, if Oklahoma Christian want to stay aggressive on this offense, is just to use more utility in more places. You never want to use all your nades all at once. It never feels good, but you may have to start doing that just to make sure that Oklahoma Christian are contested on these opening angles.
This is pretty good from Texas State. They've entrenched themselves in towards A. You got to be careful, though. Nice nade from Frosty to capitalize on the push from Cruz, even if he does fall. So 3v3 now. Splody aggressive.
Oh, no, he's red.
Okay. Well, how? How is Splody alive? No chance. Finally rotated down. So in the end, fate will come for you regardless of whether you like it or not. Finds ourselves in a 2 versus 2. Still A controlling for Texas State. And of course, that bomb not in the best position for Oklahoma Christian.
No, not at all. And Draco's actually going to use the dead silence to take away the back here. He does not have to do too much from this position. He's already in a good spot, but he's still going to find Ray for free. So now it's down to Gus for the 1v2. His dead silence is also in play, but about to expire. So he knows he's got Draco somewhere towards bottom bar, and then question marks on where Scripps has gotten off to. 27 seconds on the clock. And this is going to be one of those gut check chows, where you know for a fact that Draco's up top. If you can get the 1v1, which he may isolate here, that could lead to trying to run on in and try to predict where Scripps is. But he pushes him out, and now the play comes in. Scripps in the corner. He doesn't have any trigger discipline. He just takes the first shot. Gus wins the gunfight. Now he can plant. And he's going to try to see if maybe Draco will challenge. Oh, it's just down to does the timing occur. Gus steps away. He gets the plant to the knife. He wants to try to clutch it up. Back again. Tries to wait for the door to open, but no, Draco keeps him low. Oh, my goodness.
What? Buddy, I have so many questions.
Ask and you shall
First of all,
receive
how
answers.
dare you? Like, what is that? How is he alive for that long? Dude, that knife, by the way, is disgusting. Like, it... Genuinely, like, there's a real chance that Draco loses that. Oh, dearie me. Big sigh of relief from this Texas State camp there that they do win that round. After everything that they put into it, they almost let Gus 1v2. Not gonna happen. Finally on the board now are the Bobcats. Maybe they can get something moving.
Oh, look at the play. Draco's going to contest the topside window here just by playing the safer window angle. This time, though, there is no hit from OCU down B alley. It's all coming over towards A side, and Tactic is also double stacked. That's a great response as far as the setup is concerned. Get 2 subs down low towards A. Have an AR contest the outside alley. I love that idea from Texas State.
Yeah, I do like it. They have their numbers to work, but they don't have full control over A just yet. Frosty is their biggest threat at the moment. Utility needs to be used well. The stun is good, but the nade forces them into the site, and Frosty! Oh, capitalizes perfectly. 2 versus 2, gets over aggressive, though, off the plate. Now Cruz finds himself in a 1 versus 2. It was a great start from Frosty, but unfortunately Cruz now finds himself not great. Is to spot, still manages to make it advantageous. How?
Cruz is pretty good at the game. Jesus. Dead silence is about to run out again. Draco's going to reposition. Stun will not land. Draco gets him on the drop down. Well played. Good awareness from Draco. Cruz gave him a workout, though, I'll tell you that much, but Texas State gets back to within one. And I really do. I love that setup from Texas State. I don't know how cognitive that call is from whoever's IGLing, but if that is an actual call saying, let's double sub bottom bar to stop that push through, I'll watch my AR from top window to make sure no one pushes B lane. I love that call. And then on the opposite side, not only does that comm work out for a first blood, but after the trades come through for Frosty, Oklahoma Christian are trying to still play with that. We got killed, now let's take the map away. And Texas State are ready for that as well. So a good shutdown onto Frosty after an impressive double.
All right, well, Texas State, they're climbing their way back into the search and destroy, Alan.
Yeah, they sure are.
Round by round.
Snipe.
Draco once again, who, by the way, off that snipe is now on 5 in a row. So one more missile would be
what?
Opens up a lot of space. Draco does go down. It's a jump shot that makes it happen. Up and down Gus goes. On a 2 versus 2, they no longer have to worry about any prospective cruise missile later on down the line. They do have to be concerned about getting the bomb down on B.
Sploddy's taking the right route here, though. He's going to have the upper hand on this gunfight towards Cruz. Finish your food, child. Okay, gets the kill. Bomb planted, Ray into 1v2.
Positioning. They have to hit this at the right time. If their timings are even slightly off, Ray will punish.
Oh, good nade.
The door protects him. The door gets open at the wrong time. Oh, Ray goes down in the end. Buddy, I don't have my smartwatch on at the moment, my nondescript, totally non-branded smartwatch. But I'm kind of glad that I don't in a way because I'll be able to see my heart rate and it's been going up and down this entire game. This has been a wild ride so far. Every single round has just been weird.
It's been cool, I think. Like,
yeah.
We're actually seeing some really high-level things being played here at College COD, which is something that you love to see between two teams that are highly rated. And Texas State played that post plant so darn well. Like, I love that route from Splody. Don't worry about threatening to actually contest the bomb plant. Just play the retake, take away 2 huge long angles. It's really well designed, again, just playing in an odd man situation. So once more, with Oklahoma Christian looking to stay aggressive on their offense, how does Texas State set up? And once again, there's that outside angle. Just waiting for a 1v1 with ARs. Double subs down low in the bar. Works out for first blood. Texas State, you're making me a very happy analyst right now.
Happy as Alan at the moment as Texas State. Good responses coming out to what Oklahoma Christian, excuse me, I'm bringing to the table.
Oh, no.
I have to be careful, though. Cruz starting to enact this flank. They're taking a long time to make this play happen, and they're giving Cruz way too much room to breathe. And breathe he will. Splody, Draco, they're both down for the count. And Scripps, well, he's going to get the bomb down in 2 versus 3 at least.
There's still a chance to hold this. We'll talk about that breakdown in a moment, but there is a very realistic chance that they hold this. Tactic, I believe, is up top. Scripps is down low. He's going to be stunned by this. Tactic just over him. More nades to come. Frag gets mostly eluded. And actually, Scripps will drop very quickly. Tactic can't get out. So now we have to have a conversation. Texas State just went from making me very happy to very sad very quick. You get the numbers. You counter Oklahoma Christian setup. You've got a 4v3. You have to have somebody watch B Alley. You can't all just be waiting for the 3rd challenge to come in. I know that Oklahoma Christian is coming through with a lot of tempo, a lot of aggression. You're thinking there's always going to be another hit. But when you win numbers like that, control the space that you've just been given because you're in a 4v3. Don't just let someone come from behind like that for free. That's tough.
Yeah, that's just very simple. Like, just do something.
It all takes is someone to be top window towards the B side of the map to see that.
Yeah.
Throw shoulders, sit in the railing, doesn't matter. You have to be, if you're not going to commit after those kills to getting onto A, you have to play for map control.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Oklahoma Christian going to be very happy with that round. Once again, first blood does go Draco's way, and that gives quite a lot of map control for Texas State. And they want more. Tactic, he's hungry for it. No! No! Buddy! Tactic! Oh, no. Oh, he's got human rights. I don't think Cruz is respecting him. Now we find ourselves in a 3 versus 3. Joker's getting very aggressive with the sniper rifle. The door's literally being closed on him. He's going to have to faster round. This gives him a few options into play. He's still looking for these individual efforts. Draco making a ton of noise. Again, it's just all a part of this effort to make Oklahoma Christian feel uncomfortable.
You see how Texas State is, like, feeling very anxious, and Oklahoma Christian are just letting them move around? as they've controlled this space. They've controlled the map so darn well. Splody. Door open. Player behind the couch. Very far, not going to work out. Great prediction, but the gunfight not won. And Oklahoma Christian take away another key round, now up 5-3.
Buddy.
This is tough because, like, Texas State is right there. Like, they're making all of the appropriate reads, and they're putting together just about perfectly the right responses, but replay, you gotta do tactic like that.
Dude, no. Hey, that's a good replay. I'll take it.
It's good replay.
All of my positivity is out the window now, bud. It's gone. Oh goodness me, that was tough. That was really tough. Caught in 4K, and now Oklahoma Christian by 3 up in this one, feeling comfortable once more. First parts have mostly actually been going the way of Texas State, though, so don't be surprised if another one hits. That's a good nade on the script, and the was getting doubled up on towards the stun as well. The only hope for scripts here is that Splody's coverage is good, and it is. That's a really nice team play, and a lot, I think, of faith in your teammates to pick up that gunfight.
But once again, look how Oklahoma Christian just keep pressuring the map. You have to isolate Cruz here. He's got nowhere to go. You either make the commitment and dart into A with the 4v2, or everyone turns to deal with Cruz. You cannot allow him to stay on this flank, because now he's transmitting intel to his teammates who can better prep for the 2v4 on towards site. Oh my goodness, and you're going to give him a free kill? You have to isolate him! Or dart onto a site. You had numbers! No! He gets more? Surely not! Not like this!
Cruz has got the Cruz, bud. It's all gone wrong. Oh, they've got to go on a bomb retrieval mission. Drake. Oh, no. Oh, bud. It's all gone wrong. Script's now in a 1 versus 3. He's got the bomb at least, bud. He's going to get the bomb down over towards B, maybe, if he gets there in time. And even if he does, I think the challenge from Frosty should be voracious enough that this one's over. Hopefully. Maybe not. All right, we're going to get the bomb down. Look, Scripts is in a pretty good spot here. And he gets the exit frag as well. This is manageable for Scripts. He's going to get the regen before he gets involved in another fight. But he needs to play the aggressor here, at least in my mind. Has to try and catch these guys off guard. Ray goes in first. The timing was actually there for the potential, but it's just not to be as the Eagles win the back 3 there, able to get it done. 6-3 in the search and destroy. And this has been weird, man. Like, it's been good. We've seen some high-level plays. Like, high-level reads here. But it feels like step 1 is being like the foundations of a great play, a great round. We're always there from Texas State. And then those foundations just crumble in the second half of the round, especially towards the back half of that S&D. It's weird.
Overall, like, I'm actually really happy with how Texas State is playing.
Yes.
Against this caliber of opponent. It's in terms of, like, face up, how they're playing Oklahoma Christian. The problem is when things start to go a bit awry, sometimes in their favor. Like, again, the response for Texas State onto the aggression of Oklahoma Christian was really well formed. But on both sides of the bomb, you double sub-stack over towards bar, you have ARs watching the outer lanes, and they're largely winning the engagements. The first bloods look good. But, like, when you have a 4v3 and you're not committing to playing your numbers for a plant on offense, you have to spread the map. Take it away from Oklahoma Christian. Don't give them a chance to regain control on you or hit off flanks. Even in this moment right here, that's an incredible double from Frosty. But the thing is, you still get into a position to where you can still manipulate the map against them. So it's one of those things that I think Texas State put together the right reads for the most part. But I will say, and this is not something I can say with certainty, but it's the way it feels, Texas State is giving Oklahoma Christian far too much credit, and I borderline on wanting to say that Texas State is playing scared against this Oklahoma Christian team, because there are so many winnable moments across the hard point and in a number of these search and destroy rounds where they have the better setup, they have the better numbers, but they're saying, wait a second, they could still hit us, and we need to make sure we're here for trades. Like, you have to get aggressive. You have to know when you have advantages, and you have to use those, because that's the only thing holding Texas State back from being able to take this to 250 to 200 hard points, and likely round 9 to round 10 and above in this search and destroy. That's going to hurt, but Texas State is competing against these guys, kind of, except for Cruz, because he's pretty good. But
yeah, like, that's the thing. I think you can only really say it so many ways. Like, Texas State are doing the right things. It's just a case of once those right things happen, once they've got themselves an advantage, they somehow manage to fumble it almost every single time, especially in those back 3 rounds. Like, it was just not good. But, you know, you also have to say on the flip side of that conversation, I mean, you have to give players like Cruz credit. I mean, you still have to get yourselves in those positions. You still have to be able to capitalize, and Cruz is just that guy. 12 and 4, 10 non-traded kills there in that one. Just had an incredible game, but just... that's gonna sting. I think they'll be really frustrated with how those back 3 rounds went, especially as, like, because you'll watch this back on the VOD, you'll be like, all right, let's watch that series, let's see how that one went in this search and destroy. They'll know, they'll be like, oh, okay. There were a few of the situations there in those back 3 that just, like, they'll be so annoying, man.
Yeah, things like that, like misplays, mistakes, small turn-ons, big turn-ons, those are going to happen. But I think the more frustrating thing about this is the fact that, again, there's been a lot of advantages for Texas State. Now, I've been speaking a lot from the Bobcats' perspective, largely because I think everyone expects Oklahoma Christian to win this series.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin, though, that I have not talked about yet is the fact that in those moments when there are no numbers and no map control for Oklahoma Christian, they're forced to have to make tough calls. And so far, they have made the right reads to force those tough plays. Like Cruz getting around the back. Or in that 3v4, Cruz and Gus working together. Gus towards the closed door on B alley, Cruz going long. In case Cruz doesn't find the success, the pinch is right there. So, like, the setups as far as how they're collecting themselves from losing first blood is exquisite, again, from Oklahoma Christian. It really is close to masterclass level here in CCL.
Yeah, I'm highly impressed with what we're seeing right now from Oklahoma Christian. They're looking pretty good. Texas State, I've got to say, I'm impressed with them as well. But again, it's just finishing things out. Unable to finish at the moment versus this roster. And, you know, again, Oklahoma Christian so far here, Alan, they haven't lost a map yet. They're looking to be flawless at the end of day number 2.
Yeah, we could go on, and I'm really nerding out right now, so hopefully you guys enjoy this side of me at the moment. But we have to go to a break before we start to really dig in to some analysis on LSU control. Get your pens and papers. We move on. See you in the backside of the break. Welcome back there, friends. It's been an interesting tale as Texas State try to square up with Oklahoma Christian, and largely there have been offers, but most of it denied by Oklahoma Christian, who are just looking a step above at the moment. We go into map 3, though, control. Try to see if things can turn around here for Texas State. They've, like we mentioned, been in some moments here and there in our first 2 maps. Definitely moments that you would list as winnable. Just not quite able to turn that into the momentum they need to take down this Eagles roster yet.
Absolutely. I think for Texas State at the moment in this series, you're looking at kind of a series that never was, as it were, right, in regards to the first couple of maps. So they could both be absolutely yours if a couple of different situations go your way. And they will probably be looking at that in a positive light, I think, moving towards this LSU controls. It's like, guys, we are matching up with this Oklahoma Christian roster. Like, yeah, all right, you know, be it, you know, you having to shut down players like Cruz and Gus. At the same time, though, you guys are actually doing all the right things for the most part. It's just when it comes down to actually capitalizing on the positions you're setting yourselves up for, it's that part which they're not currently getting 100% correct. But if they can fix those mistakes going in towards this LSE control, they can actually manage to follow through with what they're putting down on the table here, they might well have a series on their hand here and finally do what has been impossible for a number of teams here in the Western region, which is take a map off this roster.
Correct. It's been hard to do, without question. But Texas State may be the best offer in this Western region to try to do it. So it has to kind of be now, maybe, or never. I hate to say that, but that's kind of the way that it seems like the cookie is crumbling at the moment. So here we go. LSU control. Oklahoma Christian on the offense. Draco looking for a long-range 1v1 with Cruz. In the meantime, the rest of Texas State wipe the floor through mid, and now they've got some significant map control, forcing the spawns into weird spots, and actually Scripps is going to have 3 players kind of spawned in his left pocket and deals with 2 of them pretty nicely. So all of a sudden, Oklahoma Christian is, can they get a kill? Only 1 down so far for Texas State, and that's a good 45 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, this is impressive from Texas State, actually. I really like the opening wave of gunfights, and then to follow through with that, of course, with map pressure beyond it as well. Very well played. But now the door is open, quite literally, here for Oklahoma Christian to find their way back over towards A. Gotta be ready for this. Texas State, and they're just not, as Frosty flies out for the double. Triple might be on the cards, as above will be Draco, and Cruz will be the player to take him down. But you've got to be careful with the flank hit if you're Oklahoma Christian. Script's going to try and make his way through checkers, and as that nade lands, Frosty now well aware of the fact that somebody on the other side of that door, just a matter of time. Will they fly out into the open jaws that is Frosty, and he will eat them up whole, looking for more.
Nice.
Now it's Frosty, but Tactic and Splody double up from Checkers and the corner as well. And that is okay. A brush with death, they will survive 24 versus 14 in terms of lives, and they reset the status quo once again. Back on the map they go.
Really nice retake from Texas State. You keep Cruz busy at top tower. Your SMGs fly through the bottom doors together, and they get 3 straight kills. And then you eventually deal with Cruz as well. So this has been an immaculate look from Texas State. Love what I'm seeing on all fronts. 4 kills in a row for Splody, who's at 7-1. Tactic at 6-2. Scripps has only died once. I mean, that is as good as you'll ever see when it comes to a defense against the caliber of the players on the other side of the floor. Last chance to get to A. No one's going to get there in time. That is a brilliant way to start off this control if you're Texas State. That's a hell of a regame.
Yeah. And the thing that works for me there for Texas State is they don't rest on their laurels, right? They don't get the wave of gunfights and they just sit there and wait for Oklahoma Christian to get off the spawn and get back on towards the point and reaggress and get ready for another wave of gunfights. That doesn't happen. Like, they immediately get the wave of gunfights, they move up the map. They get real estate once again, and they really start to pressure. And, you know, it also helps, to be fair, on that initial push that Texas State have a double coming through from Scripps over towards green that, again, alleviates so much pressure. It prevents essentially, prevents an entire push over towards B, like, just on his own. Because, again, you know, that door is open and Scripps just closes it straight away. So, Texas State there on the defense, sublime, almost perfect, apart from the 2 ticks they give away. And Oklahoma Christian need to have a kind of response in kind here on their own defensive effort. That has not happened off the rip as a 2-point trade goes in favor of Texas State.
0-6 for Gus, 1-9 for Ray. I mean, to be fair, like, they're the ones trying to, like, push through and open up space, and they're not winning gunfights because of it. But, I mean, how about this Bobcats team? They are moving right now. 25-28 the lives. Progress towards B. 1 player on is just Scripps for the moment, but Splody could join him, and will do just that. Draco up top, contesting the high ground. Door open. And, well, Ray says, why is this door open? I didn't open this. Just letting all the air conditioning out. And that's going to be enough for the first tick to get locked, and the focus starts to transition as finally Oklahoma Christian gets some legs underneath them defensively.
You got to make some moves here if you're Oklahoma Christian. Right now. Trying to get something moving to stop Texas State from doing this. All good for the moment. B is open, though, despite the positioning of Gus, who is finally off the donut at least. Now he's on 3 in a row. Resurgence perhaps on the cards here, but Splody just runs straight away from him in the situation, just trying to distract as the rest of the teammates are making this B capture happen. Now Splody needs to explode towards the back line. Looking for it. Draco falls, and Splody just a little bit too late to save this B push for the moment. The second tick of progression will be through. And again, this is fine. You're slowly but surely cracking this nut.
Yeah, agreed. The thing about this is Gus is awoken from 0-6 to 5-7, now 6-7. Ray's also getting more involved. From 1-9 to 5-13. Not as significant as the improvements we've seen from Gus, but it is notable to say the least. Frosty in trouble, can't get away with his life. Last-ditch effort. Here we go. An opportunity maybe to sneak on towards for this 3rd tick. Cruz is behind the play, but gets completely crossed. And that's now a double stack. This could very easily not just be 60 seconds here, but you've got Tactic really being a distraction over towards A. So there it is. Now 16 plays 12. Still an opportunity for Texas State.
I do like the play, though, to be fair, from the Eagles. They recognize they need to cut their losses in that situation. They don't over-aggress because, again, very easy if you get too aggressive and lose control of the map at the back of that A capture. Or B capture, excuse me. Doesn't happen. Now Texas State, they need some modicum of control over towards A, and Tactic's advanced positioning might well be just that. As he slipped by, Frosty, no he hasn't, tries to activate that silence to make a sneaky move occur, but it doesn't happen as Ray picks up another one as well. You need to see some kind of response from Scripps. Nicely done to take a player out the advanced positioning inside Shed. 30 seconds on the clock here, and as Draco picks up one, actually they do have almost full control over the point.
Yeah. Just comes down to, can this play around the back find significance? And Tactic feels like he's got to come back to this play, so he really can't stop the respawns for Oklahoma Christian. Time becoming a major problem. And it's just a small missed window right there. It's just all due to maybe a couple of gunfights from the front not going your way, but you saw what the play, I think, was supposed to be. Texas State were going to try to maybe win a gunfight from the front, pinch all the way, flip it around the back. And now it's just down to Tactic, who does well. but unfortunately not well enough to do much more. Still, though, 3 ticks of progress locked in over towards B. A decent, solid first look for Texas State to take the edge and tick progression.
Yeah, it was that initial B push. I think just really good from the offensive side that Texas State. They do what they need to do, as you say. Those ticks will be very important for a prospective round number 5 if we do have to go the distance. And I will say, Oklahoma Christian, they're very fortunate in a way because it is easy to lose control of A once B has already fallen. But it doesn't happen here. And you were talking about it, right, Alan? You know, talk about kind of round number 1. Ray and Gus were not having a good time at all. And to be fair, Ray still isn't. He's 7 and 18. Let's not get our wires crossed here. But they have absolutely come back and have had a lot more to say in that round number 2.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah, Gus up to 9 and 9 as he falls here. Ray drops, and Texas State defensively are looking really tight. A lot of good play off one another, good help across the board, and now map control again, only dropping a single life in that first set of matches, or first set of engagements, rather. It's really impressive. So Scripps on the cross. Lots of damage, no kills. Finally takes down 1. No turn there from Frosty as he was already committed up the staircase, and Oklahoma Christian are once again going to find themselves kind of stuck in spawn with not a lot of time again remaining. This is so efficient from Texas State.
You can't get them out. You can't uproot them. This is the problem again. Team tactics being a just pain in the backside over towards Shed. You need to rely on these individual efforts. Cruz has got past that 50-yard line. He needs some kills, and these shots are just not connecting. It feels like you're kind of in a loop right now. Constant time loop of just being stuck grinder against these players. Cruz finally takes one down, and now the clock will stop with 13.8 seconds here. Cruz, though, able to get something moving over towards B. Frosty also providing some of this advanced coverage, but he will be tagged up.
Nice nade.
It's a nice nade indeed. Ray will take down Draco. And now for Oklahoma Christian here. Look at this. They might actually just go for a players over towards A, but no, Spidey going to bring the Cruz missile down. And now Cruz needs to go Q here in the final 10 seconds. Cannot get it done. The transfer initially looked good, but that Splody Cruz will put a stop to it.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things that, like, the sound cue's just not there, but I love that idea, again, from Texas State. You know, it's starting to get a little hairy, a little bit out of grip, so keep your advantage. Drop in the cruise missile, hold your tick progression, and essentially just do what you just did to guarantee yourself a possible round 5 at worst. If not, small improvements. Again, that cool set play where they try to get down through the middle of the map and wrap back around A nearly was ready to go. So there's a chance here in my mind that Texas State could try to, once again, just keep that same pressure up, find a way to take over the map early, and use that as a chance to keep Oklahoma Christian kind of on their heels. It really is. This takes a lot of grit to come out after 2 tough losses and just have at this Oklahoma Christian team. I love to see it. Little set play over towards B. Not going to find a lot of success. It's right through the middle of the map for a double. That really kind of is the linchpin for the defensive success. He does get neutralized, but now Cruz is the next thing in the way as Texas State still seem to have their eyes towards B.
And the question I have there for Ray, to be honest, is why push that in that position? I know you want to make the play happen, but like they know you're there. They know what you're going to do. Texas State, do you read it correctly and work off the information to take him out of the equation? Now for Gus, trying to make some individual plays happen. Takes too long to get it happen. Scripps comes to join the battle here. It's a 4-stack. Cruz has so much to deal with and will fall. Look at this stack. A is gone. Frosty looking for some exit frags, and he's only going to get 1. There is a realistic look here for Texas State to transfer straight towards B. They're not going to get overzealous, though. Just going to try and get map control.
And again, it's still around the back. It's going to make this Oklahoma Christian team have to fight from the low ground up. But Ray does get 2. He was a part of that from behind the play. It was Frosty who we saw kind of in front of the play from Texas State. And now things become a little bit more interesting as far as how do you come out of spawn if you're Texas State, because you know that Oklahoma Christian could very well be taking over your house control deep towards B. You don't love going all the way around the world again because it takes a lot of time. But as Splodey's on 5, the comm here may be, let's jump on and group up with Splody, see if we can get him this cruise missile, and that could be our way in. And there it is.
Oh, no! Splody goes down. Cruz will survive, but he has to regen up towards 100 HP to get back towards the fight. Tactic, it just doesn't care. Taking out players left, right, and center. Unfortunately, he gets a little bit overzealous towards the field. Draco will find 1, and the Cruz comes down. Gus needs to find his way inside towards green. And he needs to play his life here. A finds himself in a 1 versus 3. Triangulated between all 3, and he has already been tagged up. Splody will fall, though. Has places life, but not long enough. And on the other side, a crucial gunfight being won by Draco. These guys, they're being zoned off, Alan.
Yeah, they've guaranteed themselves a round 5 defense with that tick of progress, and now you've got Draco shooting bodies. He earns the cruise missile as well. You think the Bobcats are still feeling frisky? You may have just gotten your answer. Shots connect. Last defender is Gus. And no, not going to be able to do anything. That is unbelievable El Asilo control from Texas State. And they've definitely now shown up and showed that they can not just compete with Oklahoma Christian, they can realistically beat these guys.
How about that? First map has finally fallen away for Oklahoma Christian, and it is a dominant control. It isn't a 3-0. That's fine. It's controlled. You're not expecting 3-0s that often unless you manage to take an offense away on Fortress. But man, oh man, every single round was dominant from Texas State. Every single one. I mean, I think they set the tone pretty much right from the rip there. We talk about that very first round, Alan, where they get that first wave of gunfights. They push up the map. They get another wave of gunfights. They push up the map. They don't let it. It's kind of like 300 in a way. Like Sparta, you know, when you get like, just like slowly move up there, like bit by bit. I know you'd appreciate that reference. But,
go on. Let me see where this is going.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, you move up bit by bit, right? You try to gain some ground, and it's just, I love it. I love it, man. It was just a really good play, I think, from Texas State Esports. And again, it answers the questions that we had coming into the map because, again, it's not like they've not been competitive in this series so far. They have been. It's been about actually capitalizing on what they're putting down. They did that here.
Yeah, that's fair. I was really curious on that reference and where that was going.
You got what I was saying, right? I'm not just.
I get what you're saying.
At 4 a.m. bro,
I was half expecting a give them nothing, take from them everything quote from you.
I'm not going to go that far, bro.
Right.
I'm not a nerd.
But it would, I mean, hey, if you want to throw any sort of a movie quote on top of it, that kind of tells the tale, right? I mean, Oklahoma Christian on all of their offenses were stuck in spawn for the vast majority of those rounds. And to come out and see all 4 players just really throwing out some fire, including a little extra from Draco, ending on 8 total, by the way. Come on. That is one of those that, yeah, those are one of those maps. It's like, okay, we could start really considering a reverse sweep here because you know Texas State is feeling good. And an opportunity to go to a smaller hard point is going to be up next, where if you could put together the same kind of team play we just saw here, I'm up for it, dude. I'm up to see a map 5 tonight. 24-11, 25-13. Top kill leaders across the server and the team for Texas State for both Draco and Splody. Tons of non-traded for Draco in particular. And now we've got ourselves a really cool look at, was it Mercado map 4, I think, if my memory serves me right?
I don't know if that was rhetorical or not. Yes.
It wasn't. I actually don't remember.
Dude, my memory is awful. For a 23-year-old, I might have the world's worst memory at 23. But regardless.
Embassy, we suck.
There was Mercado there. We're okay. We can be given a little bit of freedom there. Yeah. That momentum swing is so crucial, I think, for this Texas State Esports roster, because, again, it feels like they've kind of figured out what's going on here in this series, you know, albeit, you know, yes, it's only one map, so we don't want to get carried away with ourselves, but we can't really understate at the same time how important this map victory is, because you know, as a Texas State Esports roster, like, you've just taken the first map off of the Eagles. Like, they haven't lost a single map so far between the first 5 matches. They hadn't lost a map coming in towards that LSELO control. They were, what, 17-0, I think, if my math serves me correctly. And we finally lose one. Get it there in the control. The start of a potential, the word we'll use here, reverse sweep is very important for the momentum. And on the flip side of that, again, you were very competitive in the first couple of maps. It was just figuring out how to kind of, again, capitalize on what you were bringing down. They did that. In that third map, everything went right there for Texas State, and you're going to be riding an emotional high coming into the map.
So, there are 2 things I think we could look for here. On the micro side, I'm curious to see the kind of internal battle between Splody and Cruz, who you would anticipate would likely be your flex ARs into the 3rd sub for Hills 4 and 5. That's the micro battle that I'm curious on, is that particular head-to-head. The macro side of this goes back to what we kind of framed up at great length on the Hydra Hardpoint. The 40 seconds between hills, if you're Texas State. It's not going to be as punishing at a map like Embassy as compared to Hydro, but you could still get worked pretty hard manipulatively around the map as far as where your spawns are if you're not good in those final 20 seconds of one hard point into the initial of the next. So the micro battle, keep your eye on Splody and Cruz throughout this match. And then on the macro from the team side, can Texas State finesse scrap time and contest new without having to either A, be put into a box and have to bunker as the team who's at the new hard point first, or B, they don't have the chance at all to play for any sort of exits and threaten early to break against the Oklahoma Christian team. Those are the two things that really went against them on Hydro. You have to see those things be figured out here at Embassy. Let's go.
All right, let's see. Can Texas Esports swing with momentum in towards this Embassy hard point? Still got a long way to go before we even start considering this reverse sweep. It needs to be a good start, and so far it is. A lot of kills coming through here, but trade's ultimately in favor of Oklahoma Christian to get control of the hill. Cruz recognizes that he doesn't have full control just yet. Needs a couple more kills to make it happen. And inside electrical, he goes and shots into the body there to start off this one. And I got a feeling there, to be honest, Alan, that might be a little bit those mental games coming off that last map. They want to crush their hopes to begin with.
Yeah, that's just like, you don't shoot our bodies without us shooting you back. And to be fair, there's been a lot of body shooting in this series generally, but we've caught a couple of egregious ones on camera, so, well, it'll show up in the replay, I imagine, again, because I know Exile's already clipped it. So 28 seconds on the first hard point, a little more than that for Oklahoma Christian, but look at the minimap setup. Texas State have numbers towards new. Frosty with the dead silence is trying to sneak a play in, but Semtex essentially gives up that he's in their position. And how about this? Okay, so now the line of scrimmage, look how far it's set here for Texas State. You've got players through mid and scripts. You've got tactic killing time over towards the cafeteria entrance. And Oklahoma Christian have not even seen the hill as 30 seconds have largely come and gone.
Yeah, 30 for 30 at the moment here in this game, but a wave of gunfights now coming through from Oklahoma Christian. Draco, the last one left alive, and goodness me, how about that? Cruz now on 5 in a row. This is not the best position for Texas State. They're now going to have to focus, I think, with the 20 seconds left on the rotation. Frosty's just not allowing it. Doubles up. And that gives them an in. Cruz still needs to go huge here. One more kill on a Cruz missile will be on the board. But just look at all those white arrows on the minimap. He has just been bullied by utility. And, well, control of that next hard point is all but true.
I need to see someone from Texas State hit her out here, though. You can't just have everyone watching the same thing all at once. Someone's got to make a play forward and bump this hill out. And as they do, the ARs are already in position kind of watching this. Scripps does at least build some freedom down low in orange, but as the Semtexes start to land, the trophy systems are depleted. Oklahoma Christian just have too many numbers. That's another one of those moments where, again, I feel like you get a couple of the nice kills at new. Hardpoint hasn't popped yet. Somebody hit her out, try to open up some space somewhere else so you're not bunkered up. And now all of a sudden you've got 35, 40 seconds that Oklahoma Christian are looking pretty solid for. The knife is out for Frosty as he flies into the battle. And that'll be enough to likely lock everything down. Here's that 20 seconds again. Scrap time on old. How do you play for new?
Big hard point here from the Eagles. I just think overall, and you always talk about this rotation from P3 to P4, how important it is. Well, could well be critical in this series. Frosty on 5 in a row. That is a second streak denied here in this game, by the way. Two situations which we might have to come back to later on during this game, as the Texas State roster here going to get the first wave of gunfights in their favor. So the first hold is good on yet another important hill.
Get out of the hill. Like, this is too late. It's too late. Splody tries to cut off mid, and the hit's already here. It's too late. You get 3 for 1 before the hard point pops. You have to push out of the hill. Create a buffer in between you and wherever this Oklahoma Christian spawn is. It gives you so much information to even lose a gunfight. You know where they're spawning. You know where they're coming from. Everyone inside the hill can react to how their setup is going to be put together. And instead, Oklahoma Christian just walk in again. 5 kills for Ray. It's an Oprah Winfrey show of who's going to have a kill streak in whatever hill we're on right now.
And there it is. Finally, third time's the charm here for Oklahoma Christian. As Cruz couldn't get it done. I believe it was Gus, or Frosty, excuse me, that couldn't get it done. Ray will finally get that 6th kill for the Cruz missile. And this is not good for Texas State Esports. I'm starting to get kind of vibes of what we saw in map 1, despite the momentum built over the last couple of maps for Texas State. Oklahoma Christian have built themselves such a wide margin between the two teams. Right now, though, trying to rely on a late hit from Cruz and Frosty through the middle of the map. Ray left on his lonesome for a second gear as Gus will fall. So Ray, a lot to do. These players are going to enter in one by one, and Ray falls at the first hurdle. So it takes 20 seconds. Texas State do find their way on through. Oklahoma Christian, though, going to continue to knock at the door through that Xbox side. Crips should be ready for it, but look at the jump chow coming through. The double chow from Oklahoma Christian. It's good enough.
On the pinch is shut down. Tactic tries to hit a little cheeky route, and the follow-up is also denied. Man, it's very painful, because, yeah, they kind of get out of the hard point more. You put two people in laundry, but, again, like, what else could you possibly want? When you win quick kills like that at a new hard point, you have to create extra space. Tough seeds. About a 100-point game. Could get worse than that, especially as kills continue to come out. Ray is shooting right now. 12 and 12, but a minute 20 in the hard point. A lot of those kills have been objective kills by my count. Cruz is on for another potential streak, and that head-to-head matchup, if you're looking for the micro side of the conversation, is tilting to Cruz's direction. 14 and 6 compared to the 8 and 13 of Splody.
Yeah, just getting outslayed at the moment. It really is that simple, isn't it? Alan, we're seeing just the same kind of performances that we saw all the way back in map number 1 from the usual suspects. Cruz at 14 and 6, you say. Now looking to get some more. Oh, that's disgusting. Cruz, yeah. Now I think it's pretty valid to get some extra bullets under the body. Off the back of that, Draco only able to pick up one as well. The headshot on towards Cruz is good enough. But again, Oklahoma Christian, you got to remember the arsenal they've got in the back of it as well. Ray, I believe, still has that cruise missile, and now Gus, off the back of his 6 spree, has one as well. This is do or die right here. And
it's getting a little out of hand. Texas State, I think, has lost a little bit of composure here. A lot of solo challenges like this one right here, easily traded. The playthrough mid-map is easily followed up on. It's starting to fall apart at the seams now all of a sudden. And this is where Oklahoma Christian becomes the number 2 team in College COD. Yep. All right, we could probably just cut it here. I hate to say it, but you know, it is turning into one of those moments where, again, just reflecting on it. If this Texas State team could do a little bit of VOD review, get some analysis into what they're doing in the last 20 to the first 20, that 40 seconds between hard points, where you're getting in this map in particular, you're getting better eliminations on the new hill. Like, you have to just take more space away from the map. They're giving away so much vacancy to Oklahoma Christian just to walk in.
Yeah, and I will say this much as well. What's kind of funny is when we talk about challenges, and I know it's challenges saying, right, but, like, Embassy is a map that we always consider, like, one of the closer hardpoint maps. Like, it's constant that we expect, like, a 250 to, like, 200 game at least in a competitive setting. This is about as far from that as you could possibly get. Well, Texas are just, like, they're just not winning anything. Sure, I think really, and now they have to face down streaks as well. Like, this is just such a tough position to be in.
I think the thing about this map and why we see close games pretty regularly at that level is, you know, again, not to try to like satiate my own point here, but it's like everyone spawns outside. So when you win gunfights on the interior of any of the 3, we'll say subsectioning at 4 buildings that we've got here, you know, you have to take over that building. You know, force the other team to have to break through tough angles, tough 1v1s to where you can just be camping in a corner. And we just have not seen that from Texas State. So it all becomes very desperate now. And Gus will probably just cycle between every single weapon on the floor as he continues just to plug away at bodies. They can't win here, but once again, Cruz is in the back, controlling the tempo, controlling the spawns. And Texas State are pinned in the new hard point.
And Cruz is just pacing, man. He's just having such a fun time at the moment. He's cruising. Looking for more. Trophy system will protect him from an incoming nade. Just one more hit should get this done for the Eagles.
Look how confused they are. They have no idea what to look at.
Yeah. They've got, yeah. Oh, dearie me. The Bobcats have lost all direction there towards the end of the game. They will steer themselves into an early grave as the Eagles take it 250 to 89. A dominant performance here at Embassy Hardpoint. We were talking about momentum coming into it, and I think all momentum was lost as soon as that first set was done. To be honest, the first set of Hardpoint, it just felt like Texas were just reeling.
Yeah, I'm caught in a pickle right now because Oklahoma Christian are incredibly good. Like, they're playing literally like a Challengers Elite team, essentially. Which, to be fair, 2 of the 4 players have made the Elite. 3rd of the 4th was in the qualifier. Okay. But the other side of things, like, there is such a big part of me that wants to just sit down with this Bobcats team and say, if you just did this, you compete with these guys. Because they're good enough individually. This map's not going to show it. Things got off the rails. People started taking over chows. Frustrated gunfights. But all in all, this series, I think, can be summed up by two things. First and foremost, there's a lack of trust, I think, for Texas State. Maybe even you could argue experience for Texas State playing up against a caliber opponent like this, to where you don't often get a chance to see your mistakes because largely this team is blowing everybody else out of the water. So, like, when you go back and study VOD, you, like, really have to be nitpicky of, like, oh, we could have done this even more better than we did. That's, I think, part one. You don't have a lot of bad examples to look at to see where we can improve. The second is, and they're going to hate me for saying this, but I feel like it's pretty true. They were giving Oklahoma Christian way too much respect, and it fringed upon the mantra of they played scared. Like, flat out, they were scared there was going to be another challenge and they were going to lose it. And I'm not saying, like, they're scared of the players. I'm saying that, like, they're playing, maybe the better word is they're playing timid. Like, well, what happens if someone comes in and breaks and gets 3 kills and all of a sudden we're broken and we didn't get ourselves a chance at any time? Like, I think that's what I mean by playing scared. It's more timid than scared. I don't think they're afraid of crews on the other side of the server. I think it's just in the play style. They're not playing aggressive, as aggressive as they should be to really contest this Oklahoma Christian team in the 1, 2, and the 4 that we saw today.
Yeah. It's a matter of confidence and certainty. I think that's the best way to describe it, right? It's not a matter of, like, of bravery. It's a matter of just being in a situation where it's just like, you can see the difference in map number 3 to map number 4, where, all right, Jesus, we started well. In map number 3, we just had an incredible go of things. And then in map number 4, that start doesn't happen. You know, from the very beginning, really, it just felt like Eagles had full control over the game. And that momentum swing, I think, is just such a key differentiating factor between the two teams, because as soon as those early kills happen, unlike map number 3, where the first couple of rounds of control are Texas State dominance, effectively, they just don't know where to go because they're not playing hot. They're not feeling themselves. Sure. And that can sometimes just happen. Again, we should say the context here. Oklahoma Christian, quite literally, are one of the best teams we have here in the CCL. Yeah. So this is not an embarrassment of any kind. Texas State should be very proud of the fact that they were playing extremely competitively against this roster for the most part in the series.
Yeah, there's a lot to kind of take away. I think to kind of reiterate your point, the thing about Asilo Control is that it's linear. You win gunfights, you know where Oklahoma Christian's going to spawn. That inherently gives you a subconscious effect of confidence that you know where to go because you know where they're going to spawn at. You don't get that same luxury on Hardpoint. And in the search and destroy search, we could talk. That's a different conversation, almost completely. But I think when you start to approach the game linearly, Bobcats played damn well. It comes down to how do you mentally and awareness wise turn a 5 to 7 point hardpoint map into a linear discussion. Maybe it's understanding spawns a little bit better, knowing if we're controlling this, then they are either here or there. Try to eliminate options. It gets you to think about the situations with a much more direct focus, and that may be the light bulb they need to be able to compete against a team like Oklahoma Christian. Obviously, the last map's a bad example. They were just getting fried, and I think just there is mental boon and frustration that came into play. But on the opposite side, there's Oklahoma Christian have now won the West. No one else is going to beat them. They've beaten St. Edwards. They've beaten Texas State. There's really nobody else in my mind that's going to even come close to contesting them. So they're going to win, probably flawlessly throughout their stage. And then we're going to have a really interesting battle, I think, to see who turns up in the top 4, let alone the rest of the 8 that will make it in the regional playoffs, off of the bye, quote unquote.
And that's not a surprise. I think, like, you look at this roster, it's just like, you've got players, and again, this is not to minimize what the rest of the squad, like Ray and Frosty bring to the table, but if you have a roster with 2 players who have both competed at least once in Elite, twice in Gus's case, like, correct, you expect that roster, unless there's another team in the league that have that same kind of pedigree, you expect them to be doing what Oklahoma Christian are doing right now. Again, it's early season for these guys. They're expected to do this. For Texas State, though, it's far from disaster. You're 5-1 right now. Like, you're well on your path. And you basically already clinched a spot, at least in regional playoffs.
And the other thing to keep in mind for Texas State is their only other matchup they really had to look forward to is the matchup versus St. Edwards, right? Like, they haven't, as far as I know, they haven't played them yet. I think that's true. Yeah, I think that's true. So if that's the case, like
they haven't.
Yeah, okay. So you have to come out and get a chance to really go back, watch over that film, and come out better in those categories in particular. And looking at it, they play them last. They do. That's their final matchup, round 11 of their play. So that's the last team they play in this round robin is St. Edward's. So you got a chance to really tune up your game before you play them, and that will be the indication, I think, the next chance for us to watch Texas State and see if they will be able to improve upon last year where they just missed off on playoffs. Can they improve? Can they get to land? That matchup will really give us, I think, a nice true tell sign if they're capable of being able to do that, if they correct on these things here in week 3. So that's my final 2 cents. A lot of analysis. I went nerd mode tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Brody, final thoughts before we say thank you to the sponsors and get out of here.
Mate, honestly, it's been a wonderful time casting CCL as always, and we've had some pretty competitive games today, I will say that much. Texas State have certainly impressed me. I think good luck versus Oklahoma Christian. It's a tough match to try and take head on in this position. Yes, you took your first loss tonight, but it wasn't against an easy team at all. So heads held high, I think, coming off the back of the series, a little bit to learn. But moving forward, I think I've got a good look at both of these two teams, and I'm looking forward to seeing them.
I'm looking forward to seeing you. A little eyebrow dance for you. Let's get the splash screen for our sponsors before this gets weird. Gotta say thank you to America's Navy fandom again for the final time this evening. Make sure you check out if you're looking for other esports endeavors that aren't just in College COD particularly. Keep in mind that America's Navy does have the Goats and Glory esports team that provides a platform for people to engage with sailors and learn more about the opportunities that the Navy can provide. So definitely take a look at it. We also know that esports is obviously a very competitive environment, and well, that loyalty, teamwork, split-second decision-making that we've been talking throughout the night, that can definitely be learned throughout not just the Navy, but possibly in future Navy careers. Find out more at americasnavy.com. Also, shout outs to Fandom if you want to see more on brackets, stuff like that. If you don't want to navigate through the eFuse site, which you should, sign up, make an account. You can also check out the brackets over on Fandom. But we say farewell to week 3. Top 25 is going to shake up, I imagine, a little bit more with the results we had this evening. Lots of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you guys back there next week. Same time, same place. Until that point, keep on the down. Bye-bye.